Now let us continue. We are on the sixth characteristic of life. So we are remaining. Remember, I said they are meant to be 8. So we are remaining with the 2. I can see Maria.
Living things
They
locomote.
locomote.
They locomote. I would have used that word. We use the word locomote, but when we are looking at characteristics of living things, remember we said that this one should be able to apply to all organisms. I get it, eh? They should be able to apply to all organisms. Now, locomote or locomotion, what it means, locomotion means that an organism goes on, the whole organism goes on to move from one point to another point. That's what the word locomotion means. Like, for example, I know you are seeing me. I'm at this point. I can move to another point. Are you getting it? Or I can move even to a point where you cannot see me from. So that is now what I do when I'm moving from this one point to another point. There now I'm locomoting. Are you getting it? But again, you can see that some organisms in life, they cannot move. They are stationary. They are in one position. Are you getting it? Meaning that locomotion does not apply to all. But again, sometimes when we look at them critically, are you getting it? You can see that, maybe part of the organism is moving. Are you getting it? Not moving from one point to another. No, it is still in one place, but moving about. Are you getting it? Like my hand, my hand is moving. Are you getting it? But it is not moving. The whole me, I'm not moving. Are you getting it? So locomotion looks at the whole organism moving from one point to another point. But some of our parts or some body parts can go ahead to move. You can see sometimes when we are looking at like germination. Are you getting it? You go on to put maybe a seedling, we put it in the box. Are you getting it? And we go on to cut only one hole on that box. Like for example, I use this, that is my box there. I leave an opening. Are you getting it? Then I go on to put my seed, or I germinate a seed inside. Now that is my seed there. Are you getting it? I germinate this. Now, always we see that this plant goes on to move, grows towards, because life will be only from that direction. Are you getting it? So what happens? The plant moves, but not the whole plant, no, but the shoot goes on to grow towards life. That is now what we mean by what? Moving. So when we are looking at the characteristics of living things, please, most of all these characteristics should apply to all living what? Organisms. Are you getting me? So what we use in that case, we don't use locomotion. We use living things move instead of using locomotion. All of them, they are able to move. Lastly, someone has said they respond to stimulus. Now, instead of using many, I use one. If we use the word stimuli, sometimes we use that. Instead, we remove the US. Are you getting it? And we put the I. Are you getting it? But this one means many. This one means only one. So when we are looking at this, living things respond to stimulus. Are you getting it? And what do we mean by that? Stimulus, those are the changes in our environment. Either internal environment, that is inside the body, or outside the what? the body. Any change within our environment can cause, if the organism is living, goes on to bring about a change in the activity of the organism. Like, for example, you can go ahead, maybe if the heat is too much. Are you getting it? Because right now, if we move outside, the temperature is still, the heat is still low. Are you getting it? Not too much. So you can go ahead and be fine standing in the sun. Are you getting it? But when you feel, when the heat goes on to increase, what do? You move away. What are you doing? You are responding to that change in the heat quantity outside. You're getting it? So you move either to where there is the heat is low, or if you need more, that is if you need more, but I don't think that you can need.
Teacher.
So that's
about. Excuse me, teacher.
Please don't. Let us organize them.
Teacher, teacher, I have a question. Which books are we supposed to use? Are we using school books or revision books?
You can use any book. You can use book to put your work. If you are now, because this one now, it is like a summary. Are you getting it?
Yes.
We are just moved reach to where we want to go. Are you getting it?
Okay.
That means always is teaching. You should have somewhere where you summarize your work. You write your few points. Are you getting it? You note some points. So that one now should be like your personal. Are you getting it? Where you can write something, you summarize. Are you getting it? Then when we reach the point, that means after going through, we are going to be sending those notes. Are you getting it? And then you can copy them in your actually, the best would be your what? Your school book. There is no problem with it. But until when your hand is up, we shall select so that we can talk. So now that's where we are. Are you getting it? We are looking at these characteristics, and we should note that when we are going through biology, the syllabus of biology, we follow these. Are you getting them? We follow these characteristics of what? Living things. Though we shall include, there are some other things which come in, but majorly this is what we follow, and this is how our work goes on to be what? Organized. And that is the purpose, meaning that if you say they feed, we go on to expound on the feeding. How do they feed? How do they obtain their food? Do you know of what importance is to them? So that's now what we're looking at. So now, remember we said our topic today, which we are going to be covering, are you getting it? We are going to be covering nutrition. And I said, why do we coming from the characteristics of living what? Things, because it is one of the characteristics of living things. Now, let us go to nutrition. Now, the question is, before we go down to the nutrition, before we go down to the what is nutrition?
Feeding. Yeah.
I can see Victoria.
Nutrition is a process of acquiring energy and organic matter to maintain life processes and build up the body.
That's I'm assuming that every person who is listening, getting a process of acquiring. And organic Like, okay, maintain and build. Maintain, okay, maintain life. I can use maintaining life or energy to drive the different life processes. Are you getting it? And the organic matter is to build up. Are you getting it? The organic matter is to build up the what? Now, I don't know. Are you getting it? I should properly. Are you getting it? We are looking at maintaining life. By maintaining life, I'm saying this energy here drives the different life process. Are you getting it? Like, for example, we might know, we say, are you getting it? Organs. What? That means, okay, yes. If we say we want to, if we say growing for it requires what? Matter. Are you getting it? You have to add nutrients. Are you getting it? Your body increase in what? There we are looking at. Which other? We say the same organisms need to respire. Are you getting it? Now, that's right. The environment, but short. Respiration itself requires. Let us understand when we are talking about nutrition, we how do we go on to acquire energy? Are you getting it? How do we go on to acquire energy from our environment? How do we go on to acquire organic what? Matter. Now, that is what nutrition is all about. Are you getting it? The maintaining life, the other side, that is now after taking in, after acquiring. Getting it? So meaning that, wow, point. Are you getting it? I reach a point and I use the word assimilation, but right now I'm not going to write it there. I reach a point where I will say assimilation. How we incorporate whatever we have taken in. Now, incorporation is not part of nutrition. That means now you are looking at the of what you have taken. But nutrition, majorly, we are looking at how we acquire energy and organic. That's what nutrition is all about. Now, if we look at how we acquire energy, how do these organisms go into acquire generally? Are you getting it? We shall have two forms of nutrition. We shall have two forms of nutrition. If we look at how do they acquire the energy and the organic what? There are those organisms which for them they can go ahead to utilize the simple environment. Now, the simple things which I'm looking at the chemicals. Are you getting it? And I'll use the word simple inorganic. Are you getting it? I'll use the word simple inorganic. And in this case, when we are looking at the simple inorganic, for example, I can say carbon dioxide. That is a simple inorganic. Are you getting it? For example, carbon dioxide. So they can use carbon dioxide and then what else? Environment. They can use water. So I can say plus water. And then they make complex organic. Now, whenever they are looking at organic, something which is organic in chemistry, it should contain carbon and hydrogen. Something which is organic in chemistry should contain carbon and hydrogen. Now, meaning that when we talk about simple inorganic, for the simple inorganic, for them, the inorganic, they don't contain carbon. The compound does not contain carbon and hydrogen. Are you getting it? That is the one which we say it is inorganic Because someone will say, what is inorganic? Inorganic, it doesn't contain carbon and the compound. I'm assuming you have covered compounds. Is treated like that compound. Right? So now I'm looking at compounds. I'm getting it in chemistry. Any compound which does not contain, it is not made up of carbon and hydrogen, it becomes inorganic. Any compound which is made up of carbon and hydrogen, in addition to the other, you're getting it, it becomes what? Organic in what? In nature. So we are saying that carbon dioxide, I'm getting it, plus water, none of them contains carbon and hydrogen at the same time. This one contains this. Are you getting it? That's what it is made up of. This one is made up of this. The creation that now can get it. These ones are simple inorganic compounds. But we end up forming something like this. We end up forming something like this. Forming, are you getting it? Now, but because we have the carbon, we have the hydrogen. In addition, there is also what? Oxygen. So this is a complex organic, but being made from carbon dioxide and water, which are simple. So those organisms that can utilize the simple inorganic compounds in the environment to make complex organic compounds, those ones we shall say they are autotrophic. And also, or sometimes someone can use the word autotrophs. There I'm referring to the organisms. If I say autotrophs, autotrophic, are you getting it? I'm referring to the type of what? Nutrition. And autotrophic nutrition, this is the type of nutrition where an organism goes on to make or to manufacture its complex organic matter from simple inorganic matter. Are you getting it? This is where, please note, autotrophic nutrition. This is the process where an organism goes on to make its complex organic matter from simple inorganic matter. That is autotrophic what? Nutrition. Now, in manufacturing, in making this complex, in making its own food, now I'm using the word complex, but that is the food. Now, someone can refer, someone can say, even if it's just about only complex. No, I can say autotrophic nutrition. Where an
Pardon, teacher.
Teacher.
Please, no, please. First listen.
Teacher, please repeat the definition.
Excuse me, teacher.
Repeat the definition.
Your voice is working. That's what I'm repeating, but the problem what you are doing what? Talking, you are not patient. Are you getting it? The voice is breaking. Your network the network is disturbing you, it is slow. Now, autotrophic nutrition, I'm saying this is the process where an organism manufactures food from simple inorganic compounds.
So you just try it.
You mean now you can't hear that, eh?
Yes.
Teacher, just right.
The process where I think we use this word. I don't know. The process where an organism manufactures its food
from
Organisms, structures.
or inorganic what? Compounds. So now that's the reason why I'm saying that instead of using matter, I can use what? Compounds. Instead of using that, or I can decide to use inorganic what? Substance. Now, this is I'm defining autotrophic nutrition. I'm defining autotrophic what? Nutrition. Now, I can even, please, I can even say a process where an organism manufactures its own food from simple inorganic substances like, carbon dioxide and water. Does that make sense? Huh? I can give.
Is it a must to put simple inorganic substances?
This is the must. So now there we are defining. Now what I wanted to say, that in manufacturing, are you getting it? In manufacturing their own food, they go on to require energy. Manufacturing their own food. These organisms manufacturing their own food, they require energy. They don't require not only but also they require what? Energy. I get it. Now, this energy can be obtained in two ways. The energy used in manufacturing their own food can be obtained in two ways, or it can be acquired in two ways. Which are those two ways in which energy can be acquired? In this case, in the process of manufacturing. Yeah. So these organisms here. Now this one, please, I'm removing. Oh, I'm going to remove part of that, and I will say that in manufacturing their own food, they can either use light energy. They can either use light energy, and if they don't use light energy in manufacturing their own food, they can also go ahead to break down complex chemical compounds. They can break down complex chemical compounds and obtain energy stored or obtain energy within those what compounds, and they utilize that to make their own what food. Which that one there we shall call it the chemical energy.
Also, make it
Chemical energy in manufacturing their own what food. The chemical energy I've said.
Teacher, we can't see the lower part of the board.
So that can have a lesson which
was a chaos. You're a cut. Senior two classes.
Kabuye, can you actually try to mute yourself? And Janat, can you mute yourselves because you are disorganizing our lesson?
Yeah.
If you can't do so, I'm going to mute all of you, please. Janet, can you do so? And Kabuye, can you mute yourselves? Now, I was saying that chemical energy is the energy obtained from the breakdown of complex chemical compounds. So that's why we are saying it is chemical energy. But we say also they can also like what? Energy. Now, if these organisms in manufacturing their own food, if they utilize light energy, that process will be called photosynthesis. And photo, that is light. That's why we are using that. We are using the word light to mean now we are looking or we are putting into consideration the energy which they are being what? Utilized. So that's why we are using the word photo. Photo means light. So we add there this. So we shall have that. If they're utilizing light energy, that process of manufacturing their own food will be called photosynthesis. And if they are utilizing chemical energy, instead of utilizing, that means if they cannot utilize the sunlight energy and they break down the chemical compounds to obtain energy, those ones we shall be referring to that process as chemosynthesis. We shall be referring to the process as being what? Chemosynthesis. Chemo coming from the chemical energy. And I said photo coming from the word light. You're getting it? So what does that mean? I can easily say, or at this point I can say, there are two forms of autotrophic nutrition. There are two forms of autotrophic what? Nutrition. Depending on the energy they utilize in manufacturing their own what? Food. If they utilize light energy, that form of autotrophic nutrition will be called photosynthesis. And if they're utilizing the chemical energy, that form of autotrophic nutrition will be called chemosynthesis. So I can remove this here, and then I will divide this here, and I will say photosynthesis, and then chemosynthesis. So that's now what we have already. Now, which organisms go on to carry out the photosynthesis? We give just examples of some of those organisms which will carry out what? Photosynthesis. And some of those ones which will be carrying out the what? The chemosynthesis. But all of them, they are manufacturing, they are making their own. Now, for this one here, the photosynthetic organisms include the green plants. The green plants. Those ones are photosynthetic. You're getting it? And then also it includes the algae. Also, that one, it is what? Photosynthetic. Then we can also include the photosynthetic bacteria. You're getting it? These ones, we shall use the word photosynthetic bacteria. But sometimes even I can just say the blue-green algae.
Excuse me, teacher.
Blue-green algae. Yes, we are excused.
Teacher, we can't see the lower part of the chalkboard.
Okay, sorry. Now we are saying, now I'm putting them beside the examples. We are saying we are having amongst those organisms which can carry out photosynthesis. We have the green plants. They are amongst those. Then we say we have the algae. I'm getting it. Now there is let me just, I think, photosynthetic bacteria. I'm getting photosynthetic bacteria. So those are amongst those organisms which can carry out. Now we need to note, not all green plants, or not all plants, because someone might assume that it goes on to encompass all plants. No, please. Some plants are parasitic. Are you getting it? And actually, they carry out heterotrophic nutrition. Are you getting it? Some plants are parasitic and they carry out heterotrophic what? Nutrition. So that's why I'm stressing the word green plants, then algae, and then the photosynthetic what? Bacteria. Those are examples of organisms which carry out what? Photosynthesis. Now, from these examples, I want to stress, that some people, when they are defining photosynthesis, actually, I was teaching some few individuals some time back, and someone said that their teacher in primary said photosynthesis is where green plants. Are you getting it? And I said, please, now we need to be open. I think, should we use the word open-minded, or being to be receptive? Are you getting it? To new ideas. Getting it? We need to be receptive to new ideas that at any one point, are you getting it? From one level to the other level, they go on, things go on being what? Changing and broadening. Are you getting it? So when we are defining photosynthesis this time, we shall not say photosynthesis is where green plants are. No. I will not use that. I'll just say photosynthesis is where organisms. In order to include the algae and then the photosynthetic one, bacteria, that's why I have to use organisms rather than using green plants. Now, when we come to the chemosynthesis, I will say majorly these ones are the non-photosynthetic bacteria. Non-photosynthetic. Non-photosynthetic what? Bacteria. Are you getting it? That's not, if they say examples, I will give, and those organisms which carry out they are only that non-photosynthetic bacteria. Are you getting it? There isn't any other under that. Are you getting it? So those will be the ones which carry out what? Chemosynthesis. Now, so we are doing the autotrophic nutrition, we shall come back later. Are you getting it? Remember, we said there are two forms of what? Nutrition. Are you getting it? And we said one of them is autotrophic what? Nutrition. So which one is the other form of nutrition? This is now one which we are going to do what? To cover. Are you getting it? So far, we've said one of them is autotrophic nutrition. We defined what autotrophic nutrition is. And then we said it can either be subdivided into photosynthesis and chemosynthesis. And then we said, we gave examples of those organisms which carry out what? Photosynthesis. But we haven't defined what photosynthesis is, and we haven't defined what chemosynthesis is. Now, if we go to the second one, the second form of nutrition, which is that second form of nutrition? That one there will be the one which we shall say that for this organism, for them they cannot manufacture, but they depend on what has been manufactured by other organisms. For them, they cannot make their own food, but they depend on the food which has been made by other organisms in the environment. And that is what we call heterotrophic. That is what we call heterotrophic nutrition. That's what we call heterotrophic nutrition. By the way, we need to note, that this word hetero just means others. That is, are you getting it? From Latin, are you getting it? From Latin, the word hetero just means what? Others. Are you getting it? Even sometimes, even when we are looking at it, hetero means different or differ. Are you getting it? Now that one, we are looking at Latin because biologically, we find this what we shall use it so much. Are you getting it? But it can mean others, or it can mean differ. Are you getting it? Something different from the other. Are you getting it? So something different from the autotrophic. Now this one here, majorly comes from this word here, which means nourishment. Because someone might say, oh, what do those words mean? This word here, are you getting it? This one just means nourishment. That's what it means. Then this one I said others, or even it can mean differ. Are you getting it? So the different type of what? Nourishment. I think you can see how biology becomes simpler. Are you getting different type of nourishment. From which one? From the autotrophic what? Nutrition. So whenever you find this word that tropes, please just means nourishment. Are you getting it? So we are saying that these organisms here, for them, they cannot make their own. For them, they depend on already made food by others. They feed on already manufactured food by other organisms. That is heterotrophic nutrition. Are you getting it? Heterotrophic nutrition, a process where organisms feed on already made or manufactured food by other organisms. Don't say these are organisms. This is a type of nutrition where organisms cannot manufacture. No, a process where organisms feed or depend, are you getting it, on already manufactured food by other organisms. Now, we shall see this one here, the heterotrophic nutrition can be subdivided, are you getting it, in very many forms. Heterotrophic nutrition, those organisms where these organisms depend on already made food can be subdivided. But when we are dividing it, we depend on the mode, how do they obtain, are you getting it? And what do they obtain sometimes, are you getting it? Now, like for example, we shall subdivide them into the following, or we shall subdivide it into the following. One, which I'm assuming that every person I think knows. I'm assuming, by the way, and my assumption might be right or wrong. I will say saprotrophic. Is there any person who has ever heard of that? Saprotrophic. I can see the hand. Asimwe.
Saprotrophic means like the way mushrooms feed by eating on dead organic matter.
That is very good. A process or a type of nutrition where organism, have you heard? I'm using a type of nutrition. Are you getting a type of heterotrophic nutrition where organisms depend on dead, decaying organic matter. A type of nutrition, where organisms depend or feed. I think I should use feed on dead, is it written like that? Dead, decaying organic matter. So that is that. Now I know someone might ask, are you getting it? Have you ever heard of saprophytic? Have you ever heard of saprophytic?
Yeah.
And by the way,
Yes.
I might have forgotten.
Yes.
How do they write sapro? How do they write sapro? Is it written like that? Saprophytic. Is it written like that?
Yes, it's written like that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same as this. Though, while they were using this, this one comes from this. Now, don't say, the guy is teaching us a lot of biology. But this one here, the word that this phyton means a plant. Means what? A plant. So now, if you could recall how Asimwe defined it, she said that this is where mushrooms, are you getting it? She talked about what? Mushrooms. What does that mean? If we move back to classification, if we move back to classification, I think mushrooms belong under this kingdom. They are fungi. Are you getting it? And before fungi were being put under the plant kingdom. So they were just saying the type of nutrition where some plants feed on the decaying organic what? Matter. But as per now, please, we know they are not what? Plants. But I can use either saprophytic or I can use saprotrophic. Are you getting it? But I think the best as per now, are you getting it? What can we use as the best? This one is the best. Are you getting it? The saprotrophic. Because for it, it's just looking an organism feeding. Because this one is saying nourishment. Are you getting it? But someone using, if I forget, are you getting it? If I forget this, I write this. There is no problem with it. Are you getting it? They are the what? The same. Saprophytic and saprotrophic, they are the what? The same. Are you getting it? There isn't any problem with them. So don't say, please, teacher, can you define saprophytic? Can you define saprotrophic? Please, they are the one, the same. They are all looking at organisms feeding on dead, decaying organic matter. Are you getting it? So that is now, this one I can remove because we said we are looking at forms of heterotrophic nutrition. So far we have looked at one, saprotrophic nutrition. Then which is the other? Someone who can give us another? Someone has said there is something holozoic nutrition. I can see someone's all I can see your hand.
Parasitism.
I can see Victoria, your hand is up. Lisa, I can see your hand up.
I'm just giving an example of holozoic nutrition.
Okay,
organisms. For example, human beings.
Huh?
For example, human beings.
Yeah, we carry out, yeah, that is true. Human beings carry out holozoic. Are you getting it? Now, okay, we are coming. Now, holozoic nutrition. For it, actually, I can say, this one, how can I put it? Let me explain. Are you getting it? Rather than giving, I might not give a definition, but let me explain what holozoic looks at. Holozoic is a form of nutrition where organisms taking the complex organic matter, are you getting it? Where organisms taking complex organic matter and go on to break it down to simple, are you getting it? To simple organic or to simple substances within a specialized digestive system. I don't know if we are getting it. Where a process, a type of nutrition, where an organism takes in complex organic matter, are you getting it? And breaks it to simple, are you getting it? Substances.
Complex.
Okay, please, I'm repeating. I'm getting it.
Down. It's because we are writing it down.
Yeah, because you are writing it down. Okay. I was saying it is a form of nutrition. It is a form of nutrition where an organism.
The thing is blurry. Somebody sharing their screen.
Someone is sharing the screen.
Secure.
Come on.
When are you guys? Remove your mask screens.
One screen sharing should stop.
You have mercy on us.
Please stop sharing your
Mama
screen.
teacher, continue.
Your screen.
Stop sharing. Remove.
And I get stop.
Stop sharing up. Just press.
Mama, you guys just click on that teacher.
So we are saying holozoic nutrition, a form of nutrition where an organism goes on to take in complex, getting organic matter and breaks it down to simple substances within a specialized digestive system. I think now we can see maybe the only word which we cannot see there. We are saying a form of nutrition where an organism takes in large, insoluble, are you getting it? You can add there even the word complex, are you getting it? Please, you can add there here. I'm saying large, insoluble, complex substances. Are you getting it? Or food material, if you don't want to call it all nutrients. Are you getting it? Please, does that make sense? I'm saying large, insoluble, complex. Are you getting it? Nutrients and breaks them down. Are you getting it? Breaks them down to simple, soluble. Are you getting it? Now, since we use the word large here, are you getting it? Simple might not come in for the word, it doesn't stand in for the word what? Large. Are you getting it? So, what do? I'm going to, this one here, I'm putting that. For the large, I'll put that small. Does that make sense? The large, I'm putting there the word small. Then for the word insoluble, I'm putting there the word soluble. Are you getting it? And here where I say we have written complex, are you getting it? Then that one there comes in, are you getting it? I'll use the word complex, I'll use simple. Simple, are you getting it? So we are saying large, insoluble, complex nutrients, are you getting it? Small, soluble, simple nutrients, are you getting it? Or substances, are you getting it? Then we say that breaks them down to simple soluble substances or simple nutrients within, are you getting it? Within a specialized digestive system. Within a specialized digestive system. Within a specialized digestive what? System. Now, before I can leave this here, the word holozoic, all the type of all characteristics. I get you. Holozoic nutrition has these following characteristic features. holozoic nutrition has the following characteristic features, and they include, it has the following characteristic features. One, one of the characteristic features, there is something called ingestion. We shall add that in food. And ingestion means taking in. The process, the act of taking in. And secondly, it has digestion. Because I said characteristic features and digestion, that is the breaking down. Are you getting it? Of the nutrients. The breakdown of the nutrients. It can be physical, it can be chemical nutrition. But let us know that holozoic nutrition includes ingestion, digestion, and then 3, it includes absorption. Absorption, meaning that whatever you have taken in and broken it down within a specialized digestive system, it has to be absorbed by the cells. It has to be taken into the body. Are you getting it? So now at a later stage, I use the word absorption and assimilation, and we shall see what it means. Are you getting it? Then lastly, about this year, are you getting it? For this means I'm saying it is absorption. Okay, let me include that because someone will say absorption and assimilation. Please don't ask what assimilation is today. I will be telling you what it means at a later stage. Yeah? I will be telling you what assimilation is at a later stage when we are looking at holozoic nutrition in what? In general. Are you getting it? So we are saying ingestion, digestion, then absorption and assimilation. And I said for assimilation, don't ask for it today. And then lastly, there is digestion. And that digestion there as the last one, that is what we call, in English, I think for simple terms, they call it defecation. Are you getting it? The removal of the undigested material. That is digestion. So these here are the features of holozoic nutrition. Are you getting it? Ingestion, digestion, absorption and assimilation, and then digestion. We shall look at all of them at a later stage, so don't mind about that. Are you getting it? And we shall see what each of them means and where does it occur. Are you getting it? But that is now what actually is involved in holozoic nutrition. Now, so far, we had looked at how many? We had given that so far. That is what we had talked about. Then we gave holozoic as the other. Then someone had given us this. For me, I write parasitic. I will not write parasitism. The reason why I'm not using parasitism and I'm using parasitic, are you getting it? Parasitism is an association. Are you getting it? Parasitism is an association. So I will not use the word parasitism. I'll just say parasitic nutrition. And by the way, this here, okay, this form of nutrition involves an organism depending on another organism. Are you getting it? And one organism obtaining nutrients from another organism, but causing harm. That's now what parasitic nutrition means. One organism obtains nutrients or depends on another organism for nutrients and causes what? Harm. Are you getting it? In the process of obtaining the nutrients, it causes harm to the host. Are you getting it? But also, I will say that in this nutrition here, in order for this organism to be able to obtain, it involves forming an association. It involves forming an association. So sometimes you will see that when I'm defining parasitism, it is a form of association where one organism obtains food from another organism while causing harm. That is now if I'm defining what parasitism is. Are you getting it? Then also, amongst these ones here, we can have something called commensalism. Are you getting it? They can use that word there, commensalism. I think it is written like that. Are you getting it? Then also we can use something also called mutualism. So meaning that there, but I'm using, since I'm using commensalism, mutualism, I will say a form of association. I'm getting it. These ones are forms of what? Association. So I can say, I don't know if this one will make sense. I'm putting that there, and then I'm writing this word here. I don't know if it makes sense. Is there any person who makes sense out of what I have written there? You can put up your hand and you tell us. I have written something like that. Mutualism, commensalism, and maybe actually let me even write this one. Parasitism. Are you getting it? Let me write it like that. Is there any person who is out of what I have written there?
Yes.
Nisima, Nancy, you can tell us, what do you think? Why is it that
Teacher, I think
and then I'm putting there something and I put there one symbiosis.
Teacher, I think that
ahead,
they are all connected in some way.
They are all connected in some way. Yeah, that's true.
I
they
think
are all connected.
The commensalism and mutualism are ways how parasitism takes place.
They are somehow the way how parasitism takes place. Huh? Okay, that is good. Amina, I think.
Yes. Symbiosis.
So you want to get from?
Yes. Interaction, like between two different organisms living in close physical association.
It's very, very good. I'm getting actually what symbiosis means. I'm getting it. Before, some books later, or if you read an old book, it will give you this one as being the same as mutualism, but it is not the same. I'm getting it. Some books, they will give you that symbiosis is the same, that symbiosis is the other name for mutualism. No, it is not. Symbiosis just looks at an association between two organisms of different species. Now I will ask you, are you getting it? For me, I like asking at one point, are you getting it? I said symbiosis, a form of, or it is an interaction, are you getting it? Or a relationship between two organisms of different species. Now I'll ask, what is a species? Because I'm using the word, I'm just saying symbiosis and interaction, a relationship. Are you getting it? Actually, they say an intimate association. An intimate. I don't know, how do they write intimate, by the way? They say an intimate. Are you getting it?
INTIMATE.
Yeah.
An intimate association. An intimate association between organisms of different Now we are saying we want this one. By the way, another thing, we want us to note this word species has no plural and singular. I'm getting it. I can say species are meaning one. Species are meaning two. I get it. So always we write it like that. It doesn't possess singular and plural. So don't and someone might say, no, since that one means there are many, let me write species. No, it is species. That's how it remains. Are you getting it? So now I'm saying, what is a species? I can see, Wilder, your hand is up.
Teacher, species is a group of organisms that interbreed to give birth to fertile offspring.
We can't hear you.
A species valuable. Yeah? A group of organisms that can interbreed. We use this word here. You're getting it? A group of organisms that can interbreed to produce a viable offspring. Are you getting it? But if you forget the word viable, don't forget what Walter has told us. I use the word what? Fertile. Are you getting it? Fertile, meaning that an organism that can also go ahead to do what? To reproduce. If it cannot reproduce, there might be cases, or it might be due to the fact that these do not belong to the same one group, or they are not in the same one species. So that is what a species is. We have said symbiosis, an intimate association between two organisms of different species. Now, in this one, since it is an association, I get it. This association can be that both organisms benefit from the association. I get it. It can be that both organisms included, are you getting it, which are interacting with one another, they go on to benefit. For example, I'll say, maybe let me use the leguminous plants. Are you getting it? We know that they have what we call root nodules. And in the root nodules, we know there are certain bacteria which are found there. Are you getting it? Which we call the nitrogen fixing bacteria. Now, the bacteria is being sheltered. That is an advantage. Are you getting it? That is a benefit. But again, also the bacteria goes on to fix nitrogen, which nitrogen is being utilized by the what? The plant in order to make its own food. Are you getting it? So what does that mean? And again, by the way, as the plant makes its own food, the bacteria feeds on that food. So what does that mean? That the plant is obtaining nitrogen from the bacteria. The bacteria is obtaining shelter and food. So what does that mean? In both cases, they are benefiting. Are you getting it? Now I can bring it closer to ourselves. Are you getting it? In most cases, I would say, when we are at school, we have friends. Are you getting it? Or if not that, yeah, we have friends. Maybe I can use that. That you have a friend who has something maybe which you don't have. Are you getting it? Or maybe for me, I have grab. Are you getting it? But at the same time, maybe I'm not so good in class. So for me, I give my friend grab. Are you getting it? And the friend helps me in understanding things in class. What does that mean? That we are both of us, we are doing what? Benefiting from the association. Are you getting it? It might not be material, so don't look at materialistic things. Are you getting it? It might not be material, but all of us, we should be able to benefit. So mutualism, an association where both organisms go on to benefit. So if they say it is a mutual agreement, or it is a mutual association, that means both of us, we are doing what? Benefiting. But in this case, when we say commensalism, this association, one organism will be benefiting, the other will not be benefiting, but at the same time it is not harmed. Please note, in commensalism, one organism is benefiting from the association, but the other is not benefiting, neither is it one harmed. Are you getting it? So meaning that maybe I can say, are you getting it? For today, I will just use this example that we are with our parents. Are you getting it? They pay for you school fees, they do what, they give you grab, they do what. What do you give back? We need to ask ourselves, what do we give back?
Nothing.
Okay, yeah.
Most of us housework. I used to are not there, they don't survive. They survive.
Their parents.
And they continue. If you look at it from the moral point of view, are you getting it? That by the way, in most cases, actually, when they are paying for you school fees and so on, that is something which is going to benefit you. And it might be the only thing which you can do, which can, you just make them, they just perform. When you go to another class, you know, he feels very happy. But is he the one going to, is he the one who has gone to another class? No, he hasn't gone to another class. Are you getting it? For him, he has remained. And by the way, the more you continue, the more money he's spending. Are you getting it? But he feels there is that inner happiness he feels. When you are graduating, we go on to lie to our parents. You know, this degree is yours, but in reality, can he use it anywhere? Yeah? He cannot use it anywhere. What does that mean? Please, we are under this commensalism. You are benefiting, are you getting it? But you are not, if for example, he's paying for your school fees and you refuse to greet him in the morning, you are becoming a parasite. Meaning that you are harming, because in not greeting him, he feels bad. Are you getting it? In you not doing some things, then you are becoming a parasite at the end of the day. So he's putting in you, but at the same time, if you misbehave on the village, are you getting it? And they said, you know, hey, you now your kid is so, you know, your kid, your kid. There you have become a parasite. In commensalism, one organism benefits, the other neither does benefit, nor is it harmed. Are you getting it? So it is only one side. You give, but you don't cause any problem. Are you getting it? Parasitism, one organism benefits, the other does not benefit, but it is harmed. So all parasitism called symbiosis. They make up what we call what? Symbiosis. And these are some of the forms of nutrition or the modes of nutrition under heterotrophic nutrition. So if we ask heterotrophic
Excuse me,
nutrition,
teacher.
just please your excuse.
Teacher, I'm asking examples of commensalism in nature.
Commensalism in nature. Do you know a white bird called an egret?
Yes.
But you find it with cows.
And cows.
Cows, or you find it with where there are some organisms. You get it? That's where we bird here. Now, this bird here, the egret, goes on that when the cow is feeding you, you get it? The worms hidden in the grass.
I'm not hearing well.
The bird comes eating the worms. Those worms. How does the cow benefit from the
Please, teacher, somebody's microphone is on. I'm not hearing well.
Mute.
One mute. You're not here.
People's microphones are on and we're not hearing.
Now we are saying that this band here, always it is facing, and don't find grazing organisms are of they are those ones. Grazers are the ones eating down. They are what we call browsers, which eat up. But I'm looking at literally the grazers. That whenever the cow is grazing, it eats the grass. It exposes the worms in the what? In the soil or hidden in the what? Now, the bird goes on to eat this one, these worms. As the bird is eating the worms, for it is benefiting because it is taking in what? Nutrients. But the cow is not benefiting anything. Neither is it harmed. Are you getting it?
Yes.
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
That is one association.
No, repeat.
Now,
Pardon.
please, the problem is I'm saying as the cow is feeding, are you getting it? It exposes worms. Which worms? The egret goes ahead. Are you getting it? Now, as the egret is eating the worms, for it is benefiting. But the cow, neither is it benefiting from the egret eating the worms, but at the same time also it is not what? Harmed. Are you getting it? So, are you getting it? Then another thing which I can give, there is a certain organism called a hydra. There is a certain organism called what? A hydra. Yeah. Then the other, now this one is for them, they are in water. Maybe they didn't give this one because someone will ask me which is the hydra and so on. Let me give this one. Do you know that in our digestive system we have certain bacteria there, which are housed there permanently? And they are found in the large intestine. They are not found in the small intestine. They are found in the large what? Intestine. And this bacteria, they say, it manufactures vitamin K. Yeah? It manufactures vitamin what? K. Are you getting it? Now, they say, in the large intestine, we cannot absorb anything. We cannot absorb anything in the large intestine. As what we shall see later on. Are you getting it? Now, this the thing is manufacturing vitamin K, but we cannot absorb it. What does that mean? That we might not be benefiting from that vitamin K. Are you getting it? We might not be from the vitamin K. But the bacteria obtains food from what we take in. So we are housing it, we are giving it food, but we are gaining nothing from it.
That's where we start.
At the same time, it's not causing harm. Are you getting it? So meaning that it is under that. We shall see some of these examples. Now, for today, let us end there.
Thank you, teacher.
For today, let us end.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, teacher.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, teacher.
Bye.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, teacher.
Bye.
Hi, Barbara. Hi, Lisa.
A team.
When
Teacher.
the
Bye.
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 Kauma with you.